Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another predictions video. And in today's video, I'm be predicting the Romero versus Barroso fight. If you are new around here, then you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do need a like video, and let's get straight into it. So, going into this fight, Romero is 14-1 with 12 KOs, and Barroso is 24-3-2 with 22 KOs. This fight is for the WBA World Super Lightweight title. Romero's last fight was a loss via KO in round 6 versus Davis, and since then he's had a year out, and now he's making his return. Barrosos's last fight was a win via KO in round 4 versus Soqueiro. Romero is 24 and Barroso is 40, so that's going into it on the base level. That is the talking point going into this fight, and bar the talking point of Romero having a year out, the fact that Barroso is 40 is something which is definitely in people's minds. This fight is in Romero's home country of America. Also on this card is Akhmedov versus Sims Jr., in which I think Akhmedov will win via KO in round 4. I think he'll be the first person to stop Sims Jr. I think he's a very good fighter. He's had big fights already, very big fights already, and he's come up short in them big fights, but I think somebody like a Sims Jr. is a very good tough test for him, but I think he's going to pass it with flying colours, to be honest. I think he's a very hard puncher and is definitely going to be able to win this one. Well, yeah, in my opinion, he's definitely going to be able to win it via early stoppage. Moving back onto the Romero, though, fight. Barroso is stepping in on short notice because Puello wasn't allowed to fight in this. It was meant to be Puello versus Romero, but Puello got... I'm not going to get too much into it. I don't know too much, but he got done for steroids of some sort, I believe, for popping for them. I don't really know too much of the story. It's not really been talked about too much, really. But it'd be interesting to see if anything else more comes out about that and if that fight is ever actually able to happen or not. Of course, though, this is still a good fight. I would have definitely loved to see Puello versus Romero because that would have been a very good fight. But of course, if Puello's been doing drugs and steroids, then you can't really have him in the ring. Barroso, his losses have come against Akhmedov in 2018, so the person which I just talked about, Chaniev in 2018, and Kroller in 2016. Since then, he's been on a 4-fight win streak. Well, yeah, since then. I would say that he's definitely past his prime, to be honest. I think the kind of Kroller era was maybe not his prime. No, I probably would say it's his prime. Maybe the fight before that, even in the Kroller fight, he didn't look bad at points. He started well and he looked solid. And I think his win before that was against another Brit, but I can't remember what his name was. But I think that was maybe his peak, and possibly now he's not going to say he's past it because he's definitely far from past it, but he's maybe been there and been through faced these losses. I mean, he faced back-to-back losses in Akhmedov and Chaniev, but that kind of shows that maybe he isn't where he used to be. Romero as a fighter, he's an awkward, unorthodox fighter who's powerful. He sits down on his punches. He likes to outpunch his opponents. He's youthful. And to be honest, people were slandering his performance and the way he got knocked out versus Davis, but he went in with a good game plan, seemingly. He seems to try actually be smarter with his movements and try and outbox Davis and kind of go in and out, use a jab, which he doesn't always use, and try and do something a bit smarter, I suppose, to an extent, because he's not overly technical, but I think he was having success at times versus Davis, but I think he did just get impatient, and that shows for his youthfulness. That's going to happen, I think, and it depends on what happens, if it's his attitude or not, depending on if he could actually get back to that level. And I suppose this is still a very high level. Of course, it's still a world title, but if he'd ever be able to outbox somebody ever again, because it'd be interesting to see what kind of game plan he goes into this fight with. Because like I said, I feel like he did have elements of success against Davis. It was just Davis was just too good on the night and managed to get an amazing stoppage. Romero, I mean, in his other fights, the kind of, suppose, negatives, he can headhunt, he is a bit overly aggressive, he struggles against fighters who are boxers, because, like I said, he's not overly a boxer himself, he's more of a kind of fighter and wants to, I suppose, dog it out at times, and if he's against another fighter, then more than an actual technical boxer, then he's going to, I think, find more success, and I suppose at times he is a bit manic. Like I said, he doesn't use the jab loads. he was a bit impatient against Davis, and he can be a bit impatient, but I suppose to an extent that helps him get the knockouts, because when he can turn up the tempo, and it's just maybe is too much for his opponents, it's just depending on who he's facing. Barroso, as a fighter, of course, he's more experienced. He's a powerful puncher in himself. I mean, 22 KOs in 24 wins. It's a very impressive record, and he's got a good jab. He's accurate. He lets his hands go. He throws with spite. He's used to being an underdog. He's willing to be the aggressor. He starts well. He wants to win. Overall, I think it's not a bad opponent to be stepping in here with and stepping for a possible world title. I mean, like I said, he's faced times when he's been the underdog and he's won. And so, like I said, you never know if this is possibly going to go his way. He likes to let his hands go, especially early on, and that's good to see. And that is, to an extent, why he can get some of his stoppages, because he does land with spite, and he is throwing with spite, and if he's landing, then it's going to be good, and can use the jab well. Like I say, he's accurate. And it's just, now he's much older. Can he move the same anymore? People are asking that questions. I wouldn't say he's ever really in general that fast, but he moved not terribly. It's just if he can move the same anymore, if his reactions are the same anymore, if his chin's even the same anymore, anything like that. And he does definitely slow down throughout the fight. And so if he can't get somebody like Romero out there early, then I think it will be maybe a longer night for him. And I think there's not many people that could really get Romero out there, even in general, let alone out there early. And I suppose it does just all depend on what mindset he's going into. Of course, he's going to want to avenge his loss and prove that he's still at a high level, but because I think he has been mocked a lot for the way that he got stopped versus Davis. But it all just depends on what mindset he goes into this fight with. Romero is, of course, the favourite, and I think Romero will win via TKO in round 8. I don't mind the fact if he's being a bit unorthodox and a bit going back to his older style with this upcoming fight. I think he can win from that, and I think later on the rounds, Barroso might win a couple rounds early on, but I think he will slow down. And I think Romero's, I suppose, unorthodoxness, I don't even know if that's a word, will be just something that's a bit different, and something that Barroso, obviously, he's fought a lot, and so he's seen a lot, but I think it's just going to be maybe a bit too much for him, and just something that he can't plan for. And I think it's a difficult opponent to face for anybody, and so I think Romero will win via TKO in round 8. And then possibly go on to fight Puello. If that fight's ever going to be able to happen, I don't know if it is or not. Like I said, I don't know too much about the whole situation. If not, then Matias, I believe he's a free agent at the moment. He was with the PBC, but if he's a free agent now, I know there's talks of Matchroom, him going there, so it depends where he goes, what happens. If he goes to Matchroom, he'll probably end up facing the winner of Paro versus Prograis, but I don't think that Paro or Prograis fight will happen anytime soon between Romero, unless he does go over to Matchroom, which is, I don't know if he's going to do that. If not, then a Garcia fight. Garcia, I mean, of course, he's coming off his loss versus Davis himself, and he's moving up now into the super lightweight division, and so I wouldn't hate that fight if he wants to get an instant step up and he wants that challenge. It all depends on what his mindset is going into super lightweight division. If he wants to go up and straight into a big title shot, and he doesn't want to kind of try and take any easier fights, and he just enjoys the big fights and the big paydays, then I wouldn't mind that fight happening. I wouldn't think it'd be too hard of a fight to make, and it'll probably be an entertaining fight to sell. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like if you did, like this, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.